The people of Nazareth were underwhelmed by Jesus. They were expecting something a little more. He grew up there, he went away, he performed these miracles and did these things. He came into the synagogue, and they were initially impressed with his proclamation of the prophet, and then his words of eloquence. And then Jesus begins to kind of preach more directly to them, and they're like, okay, we're expecting some miracles here. And Jesus was not gonna. Jesus, as he so often does in the gospel, he doesn't allow people to say to him, jump this high, then we'll believe in you. Come down off that cross, and then we'll believe in you. Jesus recognizes that the gift of faith has to come into the open heart, and in this case, it's a really a beautiful lesson in two things, I think, as I was reading it. One is our own humility, I hope. I just wonder if Jesus came to Bay St. Louis and walked around in our little town and walked up to us and met us, I suppose most of us think we would say, he's the man, this is it, wow, Jesus is here. I'm afraid we might be underwhelmed too, and we'd probably say, do a miracle. And that's exactly what happened. And so I think about, I feel a little sorry sometimes for the people of Nazareth, because it's like, prove to us you're somebody. And Jesus is telling them that basically that they need to be patient, their hearts and minds need to be open, and I think he'd say the same thing to us. So that's one thing that I gleaned out of the gospel as I was reading it this morning. And the second thing was how important it is for us to be familiar with the Old Testament. You notice how many times the Old Testament was alluded to and quoted in this reading today? A large quote from the prophet Isaiah, then the story about the general Naaman from Syria, and then the story about the widow from Zarephath. And so these stories help us understand the anticipation of Jesus. These two characters that Jesus alludes to from the Old Testament were both Gentiles. They were not children of Israel, and they accepted the gift that God had to give to them. And Jesus is kind of building a case in some respects against the nation of Israel, having been highly favored, have been giving all these advantages, but still so often their heart was closed. So let's not judge the people of Nazareth today. Let's pray that we would recognize Jesus if he came to us, that we would not be underwhelmed, that we would truly be aware of his power and his presence. Jesus is going to come to us today in the Holy Eucharist, isn't he? And so let's pray this day that our hearts are open to him and that we're not underwhelmed by his presence today.